Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to our March 2021 book launch. And today I am really excited to be here with our author, Carlie Maree. And Carlie is the author of Soul Modes. You're not one ordinary woman, you're four extraordinary ones. Carlie, thank you for taking the time today to talk with us.
Thank you for having me. It's very great to be here. I could talk about this book all day long. So we won't
That
do that though. Let's see how we go.
No, well, we certainly could. We certainly could. And this is an exciting book. As we started working together many months ago and had our first call, I shared with you how strong I thought the book was and what kind of conversations it starts and what you could do what it can do once it's in people's hands. So tell me a little bit about the book and why, what it's about.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a really important book. And I'm going to use the word women to be very general. When I say the word women, what I'm actually saying is feminine core beings. So most women and some men, we are cyclical, right? And our energy moves. It goes up and down, but not just up and down. It also goes left and right. What kind of happened was I went on some kind of personal journey of figuring myself out because I often felt like I was all over the place. And as a mother and as an entrepreneur and as a creative person, it was easy to kind of make that bad and make that wrong. But I just got really curious about it. And that turned into a research project about womanhood, which all culminated in this book. Someone's got it here. And because what I discovered was a pattern, quite a clear pattern that as feminine core people who are feminine at our core, that we actually have this kind of internal calibration system that takes us where we need to go in terms of our focus, in terms of what we're naturally motivated to do. So some days we're naturally motivated to write a list and tick it off. And other days we're naturally motivated to be really connected and social. Other days we're naturally motivated to go quite internal and really look at ourselves and do some kind of energetic maintenance, I call it, right? Checking in with ourselves, and whether it's meditating or journaling or some of those reflective practices. Other days we're naturally motivated to make big changes in our lives. Suddenly we want to clean out all the cupboards and get rid of half our stuff, and buy a whole bunch of new stuff sometimes as well. I know my inner wild woman is, she likes to give the credit card a workout. But I just discovered this pattern that we move through as women. And as I started to talk about it, so many women around me were going, "You're explaining my whole life. You're helping me to not feel crazy. You're helping me to see that actually this is great. And if I can ride this wave and know this about myself, because knowledge is power, right? Then life started to look really different. The businesses started to thrive. Their relationships were better. They were more in flow with parenting, with health and fitness. It could kind of be applied in all areas. And now I've got a whole bunch of Soul Modes mentors that have trained that are now kind of teaching this in their different areas, whether they work as a personal trainer or as a financial advisor or whatever they do. It's applicable in every area of life because it's about motivation. And in just about every area, we need to understand how our motivation works. I call it motivational intelligence. It's kind of a whole new field that I'm really trying to get everybody's eyes on because it's really quite magical.
Wonderful. Well, and it makes perfect sense because when we know what modes we're in or what modes are dominant, we know we can figure out then how to best navigate that to get the best result in total. So it just makes perfect sense. And I know I was raised by a single mom and two older sisters, so I understand, and it can be a difficult process for anyone. But when
A
you're
roller coaster, right? It's a
it's a
roller
roller
coaster.
coaster. When
It's
you're coming in and out of modes, you're not always sure, you know,
yeah.
what you're going to do next or who you're going to be or what's going to happen. And it can be completely overwhelming. That's one of the things I loved about the book is that it breaks it down so concisely that anyone can pick it up. You've got a lot of information in here that is the whys and the whats, but it's also very applicable and easy to see yourself in the journey. And I think that that's where we can connect and really make a difference. So why do you feel that it's an important topic, but why do you feel that it's important? This book is important right now.
Yeah, it's been really interesting in this age where a lot of people have been spending a whole lot more time at home
Mm,
and a little bit more time on their hands, depending whether they've got children at home. And for a lot of people, they've been experiencing something like Groundhog Day, right? So it's actually made it easier in a lot of ways for people to track their own natural rhythm. Because I know here I'm in Melbourne, we did a really long, really strict lockdown. So we were waking up in the same place every day, doing the same. We weren't going anywhere, right? And so it was really interesting to see how my environment was much the same, but my energy was different and it would change. So I think for a lot of people, it's become easier to track it, and also more important, like self-care. Man, in this day and age, and really for as long as I can remember, self-care has been really important, and it's become a much bigger part of the conversation now, I think, around mothers, around entrepreneurs, and in the spiritual kind of development area. It's a conversation in a lot of different places, and it's an important conversation to have. But here's the thing: self-care doesn't always look like taking a bath or taking a nap. Sometimes self-care looks like cleaning out a cupboard, or going and getting your hair colored. Like, self-care can look really different on different days. And this is the thing: we don't just have one cup to fill. We talk about filling our cup, and it's really important, particularly for a lot of people maybe feeling isolated or feeling overwhelmed. Filling our cup is really important. But the interesting thing that I present in this book is that we don't just have one cup to fill, we've got four. And as you fill one of them, the next one will be ready to be filled. So that bare cup is about rest, it's about stillness, it's about reflection. That's the more kind of traditional self-care one, right? But then after that comes super mode. And self-care in super mode for me usually looks like creating order where there was chaos. So it might be that suddenly I'm restructuring my pantry in my kitchen, or I'm planning out my week. I'm doing some meal planning. That's what self-care can look like sometimes. Or in sparkle mode, self-care for me looks like just forgetting the to-do list and getting down on the floor and playing with my kids, or going and getting my nails done or something like that, that feels like nourishing my body and my spirit, my energy. So I think around the self-care conversation, which of course kind of overflows into the mental health conversation, and taking really good care of ourselves so that we can feel okay.
mm,
I think this book is extraordinarily important. So it's interesting that, it came out right before the beginning of 2020, in the first, when I self-published it. And I'm so excited to be working with you guys and get it in the hands of so many more people, and working with an incredible organization that you guys are running there. And it's been such a beautiful experience, because my dream is just to have this in the hands of everybody who needs it,
mm.
everybody who either is a feminine core person or loves one. This is helpful stuff to know, because it helps us not to just take care of ourselves, but to take care of another woman in our lives, and to understand why what she wants is different one day to the next. Some days I want lots of cuddles from my partner, and other days I want some alone time. And it's been really helpful for him to understand this. It's not about him. It's not him doing anything wrong. That's just, I need different things in different moments. um and it's so helpful. It's basically like the manual. The women, we do come with a manual. It's here, there you go.
I love that, because I think it's often that other people, even other women, um, may not fully understand what that self-care looks like for you. And you doing something can look exhausting to me. My wife could be in the middle of something and it just looks exhausting for me, but it's the most freeing thing that she's done, right?
Oh yeah.
And it comes down, I always tell guys when I'm talking about marriage, and I've been married for 32 years, but even today I could care less if those giant fluffy pillows are on my bed and if the blanket's pulled up nice and tight. But every morning I make sure that my blanket is up nice and tight and those big fluffy giant pillows are all over the bed, nice and neatly arranged, because it makes her feel like she can move through her day. And if we can do anything to free up, space where she can go and do the things that she needs, and when she wants to pull out the vacuum because she's exhausted but she needs that living room cleaned, I'm more than willing to jump in and help, because you said something that was so true. And when we can understand the people that we love, we can love them even more, and love them in a way that makes their journey even that much better. And you've done that so well in this book. You've laid it out very clear. So, when you say this book is written for a certain type of people, I say it's written for everyone, because if you want to understand and have a stronger relationship, you need to know that person deeper than you think you know her. And I'm still learning things about my wife 32 years later, and you're going to find new things about the people in your life. So, I encourage everyone to take the time to investigate and study and learn. And your book's got so much great information on how, women need to treat themselves, but also to look at themselves and to fill those needs. And we can help in that if we know what that is, and it's beautiful. So, with all of that, what's next? What's next for you?
I'm working on my second book at the moment. So I guess what that will do is maybe just take this work deeper. But this first book here is really it's the Soul Modes 101. It's hey, here's this magical thing that's happening inside of you. Here are what the 4 different modes are. Here are what some things that might help you to fill those 4 cups. I think the next part of the conversation now is taking that deeper, taking that bigger, particularly for those really, I suppose, ambitious, perhaps entrepreneurial women. A lot of times what has happened is people have read this book and then come to me going, wow, I'm capable of so much more than I thought I was. And suddenly they want to go bigger in their career or in their business or in their life. Suddenly they're so much more tapped into what they actually want because they're listening to themselves, sometimes for the first time in their lives. So I think now the conversation from here, everybody needs to read this one first. But then what I love talking about is, okay, now how do we then utilize this understanding and take it even deeper? And for me, it seems to be about helping people to access their genius, their real, it just clears out so much of the noise, and it gets us not worrying so much about a to-do list when we're actually not in the best energetic state to be sitting with a to-do list. And there's actually more effective and efficient things we could be doing with our time. So it's really interesting to see where the conversations are now going. And I'm really excited to see, what happens next with this book being in stores and in more people's hands and doing some more kind of work around getting in front of people, to see where the conversation goes. And I'm starting to have, some different like influencers and people getting their hands on this and going, wow, okay, this is a thing. We need why wasn't I taught this in high school? And because we didn't really know. We knew that there was some stuff around the menstrual cycle. We knew there was some stuff around the lunar cycle. We feel different around a full moon, and we feel different, parts of our physical cycle, we feel different. But this is another layer to that. This has nothing to do with either of those things. This is actually moving more quickly than that. And what tends to happen, and this is the really interesting thing, the more I've been talking about this, is to see that we speed up. We start to move through the 4 modes more quickly. So sometimes when someone first reads the book, they might be moving through the mode. They might be spending several days in each mode, maybe 3 days in each mode. So it might take them about 12 days to go through a cycle. And what's happening is it's speeding up. And I noticed that for a lot of people, particularly while they were in lockdown, if they were in some sort of, isolation, that their modes sped up. And as our modes speed up, our personal growth does too, because every cycle of wild mode, bear mode, super mode, sparkle mode, we grow, we shed things that aren't serving us anymore. We decide what we want, we connect more to ourselves. So if you want to speed up your personal growth, to anyone who's into personal development or spiritual development, you'll hit fast forward on that if you are tuned into this pattern. So I think that's kind of where the conversation is going next. But this is my life's work. You'll see me in 10 years still banging on about this, because I feel really honored to be the one bringing this to the world, because I am yet to find anyone else who has noticed this particular concept, this particular pattern. So really proud to be bringing it to the world and training up a whole bunch of Soul Modes mentors who are out there teaching this work and speaking on stages. And it's a very exciting time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if there are people watching this right now, maybe they've ordered the book already, they've got it in, maybe they've just read it, or they're in the middle of reading it, but they know that now they want part of that next step. They want that growth. What's the best way for them to connect with you and to reach out and get connected outside of the book?
Yeah. I do daily posts on Instagram, and there's some really cool stuff on there with like little, let's call them little cheat sheets, little reminders of, hey, you're in sparkle mode, try this kind of thing. And so Instagram's a great place to come and find me. You can search, there's a profile under Soul Modes, and there's also a profile under Carlie Maree. So come find both of those on Instagram, also Facebook. But the really cool thing to go and find is the Soul Modes movie. We made a documentary right before the book came out, called The Soul Modes Movie. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook. If you Google it, you'll find it. And it's very cool. It's a 55-minute little docu-film where I interview a whole bunch of women about how they experience their modes. And I think that that's a really cool little, it's good to get a little taste. If you haven't read the book yet, it's a good one. But if you have, it'll also take your understanding deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And there's no better way to connect with any material than to find other people who are experiencing the exact same thing in different ways. So very, very cool. And I mean this, guys and gals. Anyone watching this video, you should pick up a copy of this book and read it. You should investigate what Carlie's doing. It's going to help you personally, but it's also, like we said throughout the conversation, it's going to help you understand more so you can also interact and love those around you even better. I've got my copy. You can see, it's amazing. So I hope that everyone watching this gets a copy, gets into it, connects with you, Carlie. So thank you for taking the time today to talk with us, and to, more importantly, just taking the time, as you said, to be the one to bring this message out, to write the book, and to continue that work outside of the book. And I love that you said one key thing. So many authors get to the end of the writing journey, the book comes out, and the message is done. But where we see a difference, where we see the impact and the change, is when we have authors who write their books and say exactly what you said. 10 years from now, I'll still be going on about this topic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you guys for watching in, and I look so forward to seeing you on our next one. So go get a copy of Soul Modes. You can get it anywhere online books are sold. You can get it at your favorite bookstore. It should be out now. So go grab your copy. Thank you, Carlie.
Thank you.